Hi friends. This book I'm going to read to you, I'm actually sitting in a rowboat. Here are the two oars. See how they're not together? Like the kayak paddle, that was put together. But these are two separate ones. I'll show you the rest of the boat after the story, okay? So I might wiggle around a little. Look at this. Woo! Because the boat is actually in the water. So this book I'm going to read to you is called This is the Sea That Feeds Us. And it's by Robert Baldwin. And it's illustrated by Don Dillon. All right, so I'm going to take my glasses off, my sunglasses, and I'm going to put on my reading glasses. Now, I did bring my mask, but there is nobody around me today. But if somebody comes down to the dock, I'm going to put my mask on like this, and I'm going to wear it over my nose and my mouth to keep myself safe and then anybody that's around me. But for now, I'm going to take it off because I don't need it right now. All right, I'm going to put my eyeglasses on so I can see better. Woo, a little dirty, but I think it'll be okay. All right, so here is the story, and this is the cover. This is a fun story. I think you're going to see some boats in this story too. I'll read the page, and then I will show you the picture. This is the sea that feeds us. That's what the title page says. This is the sea that feeds us. This is the sun that shines on the sea that feeds us. Today is a very sunny day out here. Do you hear those sounds in the background? Those are big trucks on the road. This dock is actually pretty close to the road. These are the plankton floating free, zillions of creatures alive in the sea, making their food from the light of the sun that shines on the sea that feeds us. So plankton are little plants, and they're created by the sun, and it's called photosynthesis. That's how that process happens. Oh, let me show you the picture a little bit more. Here are the shrimp, as small as a snail, lots of legs and squiggly tail. Dining on plankton floating free, zillions of creatures alive in the sea, making their food from the light of the sun that shines on the sea that feeds us. Very young shrimp eat phytoplankton, but as they get bigger, they eat zooplankton, a tiny animal that eats phytoplankton. See, it's all a chain. It's the food chain. A curious girl with a sandy pail caught a shrimp as small as a snail with lots of legs and squiggly tail that ate the plankton floating free. Zillions of creatures alive in the sea, making their food from light from the sun that shines on the sea and feeds us. Nothing would live in the ocean if there weren't phytoplankton. These are very important. Ooh, look at these big waves. This is the wind, and the wind is actually moving the boat around. Can you tell? Ooh, it's changing. You can see the scenery behind me is changing because the wind is actually moving the boat. This is the wind, mighty and grand, that drove the waves upon the sand and made the gloomy storm clouds fly like airborne whales across the sky. If you look closely at this page, you might see a cloud that looks like a whale. The roaring winds and booming gale thrill the girl with the sandy pail who caught the shrimp as small as a snail with lots of legs and squiggly tail that ate the plankton floating free, zillions of creatures alive in the sea, making their food from the light of the sun that shines on the sea that feeds us. Storms and strong currents help phytoplankton to grow by churning up the nutrients. That means turning it around and around from deeper down in the ocean. I wonder what these people are doing. What are they doing? Yeah, that's right. They're fishing. Maybe that will be our next adventure. Maybe Mrs. McLean will take you fishing. A mother stood by the sandy shore, watching the ocean tumble and roar. She hugged the girl with the sandy pail and baited on the hook in the blustery gale. With a tiny little a shrimp as small as a snail, with lots of legs and squiggly tail that ate the plankton floating free. Zillions of creatures alive in the sea, making their food from the light of the sun that shines on the sea that feeds us. How do you think these characters feel? Look at their faces. Do you think they feel happy or sad or surprised or mad? I think they feel happy because the smile is going up. I was looking around because I think I saw a seagull flying overhead. Fish like this black sea bass eat shrimp and smaller fish, which eat the zooplankton, and they eat the phytoplankton. So see, everybody is a food chain. It just goes up. This is the fish with the hungry look that saw the shrimp, but not the hook, as the mother fished in the booming gale that thrilled the girl with the sandy pail, who caught the shrimp as small as a snail, lots of legs and squiggly tail, that ate the plankton floating free, zillions of creatures alive in the sea, making their food from the light of the sun that shines on the sea that feeds us. Oh, look at this crab. Look at that. There's a crab. And when the wind had gone its way, and the fiddler crabs came out to play, a barefoot man, all jolly and brown, built a fire as the sun went down. So he built a bonfire on the beach. That's a lot of fun to do. The people, as they began to cook, thanked the fish with the hungry look. They thanked the sea that feeds us all, that feeds the creatures great and small. They were giving thanks for their food. That feeds the crabs and feeds the whales and feeds the sharks and feeds the snails and feeds the ocean's fabulous fishes, a feast of their favorite seafood dishes, and feeds the shrimp as small as a snail, lots of legs and a squiggly tail, a supper of plankton floating free, zillions of creatures alive in the sea. The ocean not only gives food, it gives oxygen too. Phytoplankton produces more than half of the world's oxygen supply. Wow, that is amazing. So those tiny little plants help to give us the air that we breathe. That's interesting. Making their food from the light of the sun, and gone with the tide when the day is done, adrift in the sea that feeds us. You cannot see them without a microscope, but millions of phytoplankton live in 1 quart of seawater, and silent, invisible faces of life in the sea. The end. The last 2 pages talk a little bit about the author and a little bit more about the ocean. There's so much to learn about the ocean. Okay, I'm going to put my book down on my rowboat, and I am going to pick up my camera and show you what the rowboat looks like inside. See? So inside the rowboat, it's not a very big boat. It has a seat behind me, and it has a seat that I'm sitting on, and it has a smaller seat in the front. And this is where we put the oars. Look, you pick up the oar and you put it right here. See that? And then the oar goes into the water and it moves the water so that you can move the boat. Remember we sang a song of row your boat? Well, this is what row your boat means. Row, row, row your boat. Such a great song. Okay, friends, hope you enjoyed the story and the visit on the rowboat. See you next time. Bye.